Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to talk about the Insta360 X4 setup on my Harley Road Glide. Hey, so I thought we'd try something a little different today, mostly because I don't have any footage right now, and we're going to get out and get some good footage of Granddad Bluff tomorrow and add that to our Overlook series. But for today I wanted to talk a little bit about the Insta360 camera and how I mount it to my motorcycle. I see a lot of questions online about how people mount them, just the setup in general. So I thought I'd share what my setup is. There's lots of ways to do this, clearly. I'm not saying this is the best way, I'm just saying this is the way I do it. It works for me, and hopefully that's helpful for somebody that's just starting out. So here's my setup. I use the Insta360 X4. There's actually an X5 available now. But I mount that to the bike, directly to the handlebar on the Road Glide here, using Insta360's motorcycle mount. It's actually a very solid mount and works like a charm. The camera itself sits in an aluminum cage that I've added for security, mostly because I don't want the camera falling off and bouncing its way down the road. So let me unplug the microphone. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute here. But this is the basic camera, 280-degree lenses, so it's constantly shooting in 360. They talk about these like an 8K camera. It's 8K in a 360-degree view. When you go to reframe it, though, you can definitely get 4K at 30 frames a second, or even up to 60 frames a second. 4K 30 works just great for YouTube videos and for the kind of things that I'm doing with the camera. So let's talk a little bit about microphone setups. I'm using the DJI Mic Mini setup. So this amounts to a receiver you see mounted in the cold shoe, which is one of the benefits of having the cage, is I get a cold shoe. So on this side I can mount the DJI receiver. That pairs with two microphones and then connects directly into the side of the camera. On the other side, I use one of the mounts, the 1/4-inch hole mounts on the side of the cage, to just have a cable down and around the handlebar on the bike. Again, additional security from it falling off. Frankly, I've never had it move. It sits there very, very solid. We'll come back to talking about the Mic Minis in just a little bit, but one of the things that I started out doing is I had this mounted on a selfie stick, and generally a collapsed selfie stick, and if you do that, you want to use a very solid selfie stick. Don't get a cheap aluminum one. Even Insta360 makes multiple selfie sticks. They've got one called the Action selfie stick that is carbon fiber. That's definitely the one to get for this, more resilient to vibrations and snapping off like an aluminum one would be. That allows you to extend the camera up, obviously, or angle it off the side of the bike or attach to any other points on the bike. I found that having the camera mounted here allows me to get a little bit of the windshield in the view, and gives the sensation of motion much better going down the road. So hence why I tend to leave it there. It's also in a good position when I'm reframing to have the camera pointed back at me for a few seconds, then back at the road, off to the side. With one camera I can capture a lot of different views. Talk just a little bit more about the selfie stick, as that allows certainly some options for different points of view from the motorcycle. I've got it just kind of sitting in the cup holder there right now for the purposes of making the video, but obviously that just screws into the bottom of the camera, and the camera could hang off the end of that at any position. So you can have it from the handlebars on the bike kind of forward to get a little different perspective, more of the bike and yourself in the shot coming back. People mount them like down off the bar adjacent to you, or sometimes they'll mount them on lower crash bars up front, kind of sticking off to the side. If you do that, you just have to be conscious of the angle when you're going around corners, or you might just grind the lenses off it. But yeah, there's some really interesting perspectives. A lot of times people will have them, even with a tour pack mounted on, sticking way up behind them to give a whole different sense of things. I tend to stick with it mounted right on the handlebar here. And part of the reason I do is simplicity, not moving it around all the time. I am just running one camera setup. People that are really into this may be running, 2 cameras at any given time. One of the reasons I like it here and with the 360 is that I can, when I'm reframing, look forward, look to the side, look back at me, and constantly changing up the view from just that one camera. For anybody that's not familiar with an Insta360, the idea is 360, you're constantly filming 360 degrees around you. It's effectively accomplished by two 180-degree cameras, get the selfie stick out of the way here, and then stitched together with software. So when you go to edit, you get a 360-degree view and you do something called reframing to reframe that into, typically I do 4K 30 frames a second, and that allows me to look in any given direction at any moment of time, pan between the viewpoints, or just jump between them. Again, would be a whole tutorial on editing for anybody who hasn't gotten too into that. But it allows a lot of flexibility, right? And that's the beauty of this kind of a camera versus just a forward-looking camera mounted to your chin. It's looking where you're looking, right? So I like this as just a single camera and keeping things simple in that way. The microphone setup again, the DJI Mic Minis. I'll grab one of those here in a second and show you what that looks like. Mounted to the chin strap on the helmet, but I use two of them paired to this receiver. One I put back in the little pouch on the back of my backrest. That works great for picking up the sound of the mufflers, the sound of the bike going down the road. The other I attach to either the inside of a full face helmet or to the chin strap, and they're actually mind-blowingly amazing in terms of filtering out wind noise. I've got a lot of comments on that of what I do to reduce the wind noise, and a lot of that comes down to the noise cancellation capabilities of that DJI Mic Mini microphone. I've also played around with some of the post-editing techniques, but really found that I don't need to do that much with these microphones. It's kind of crazy. So this is what one of the Mic Mini microphones look like. Very small. You can see the wind muff on there. They come with two different wind muffs. This is the one for, higher speeds, more wind essentially. And again, does an amazing job of filtering that noise out. This one, it's got a little clip on the back. It's also got a magnet. I mount that on the chin strap, right underneath my chin on my helmet, and works great. I also use the magnet, which is kind of tucked under some fabric on my full face helmet, to capture audio when I'm wearing the full face modular helmet. We'll talk a little bit about microphone wind noise. Here we are cruising along, just at 50 miles an hour, kind of tooling along, so you get an idea of what the raw wind noise or lack thereof is with these DJI Mic Mini microphones. They are set to a noise canceling mode, but I won't do any other filtering of the noise in editing. So we'll do this, and in a minute, going down the highway, I'll capture some more, but at 70 miles an hour. So this is the microphone at 70 miles an hour going down the highway. Don't do a lot of recording at 70. Tend to be a lot of country roads at 60 miles an hour. So probably a little more wind noise here than you're used to hearing in my videos, but it'll give you some perspective of how good this mic does at filtering out noise and what the difference is between going 50 and 70 miles an hour. All right, dropping off the highway here now. So here's basically no speed. Shouldn't have any wind noise. So another comparison, what the mic sounds like. Oh, and then the Cowboy Jacks. Nice little spot along the Eau Claire River here. So that's my setup, what's working for me. Let me know what works for you. I'd be curious to hear, what other ideas and things you've done. I know there's a lot of people mounting them different places on the bikes. Just kind of curious what you've learned along your journey. So please share. Also, if you have questions, comments, drop a comment. I try to respond to all of those and continue kind of learning from each other as we go about this journey. All right, that's a wrap for today. Keep an eye out for more of the Overlook series. I've got another one of those coming here hopefully within the next week or so. And then we're heading out west to be looking forward to sharing some awesome mountain passes in Colorado. So we went west the last few years, but haven't had a camera setup and wasn't into making videos back then. Kind of wish I was for all the epic places we've gone. But for this year, we'll be sharing some awesome passes in Colorado. So look forward to more on that to come.